Hello and welcome to this demo on using the test activity and create test bench actions in UiPath Studio. In this video, we'll learn about testing individual activities in our workflows and creating test benches to check larger automation segments. Let's begin. We're using the same project as in the previous videos, the one that fills in the forms page with data from an Excel file. Using the test activity option, we can test the currently selected activity. Now, it's important to note that the test activity option is not available in debug mode. To see how it works, we'll copy the type into first name activity to the end of our workflow. But before we can paste it, we need to take a few preliminary actions. Change the scope of the first name string variable to the current workflow file. Inside a new sequence, add a Use Application or Browser activity. As we already know, for modern UI interaction activities, we always need to use a scope. Now paste the type into activity. Re-indicate the field on the screen. Validate and confirm. OK, we're good to go. Let's right-click on our new sequence to open the context menu and select the Test Activity option. We're now in debug mode. Currently, the execution is paused and we're debugging this specific group of two activities only. The type into activity uses the first name string variable as input, and that's why we changed its scope earlier. Let's use the Locals panel and add a value for this string variable. Let's say RPA Developer. Now let's click Continue. The scope and type into activity were executed, resulting in the robot entering the test string into the first name field on the Forms page. Now we know how to use the test activity. Let's move on to create test bench. This action lets us create automation building blocks which can then be tested and added to the final workflow. In this example, we want to create a test workflow that asks for user input and then enters it into Notepad. Let's go to the Activities panel, right-click the activity that we want to get started with, in our case an input dialog activity, and click Create Test Bench. A separate workflow file is created. However, it's not visible in the project panel. If we close this file without saving it, we'll lose the test workflow. OK, let's fill in the title and label fields. And create a new variable in the result field, input text. Let's add a Use Application or Browser activity. And a type into activity. Indicate the Notepad window. And provide the new variable as input. All right, our test workflow is ready. Let's click Debug File. Keep in mind that our workflow contains two breakpoints. We have reached our first breakpoint. Let's click Continue. We've reached the Input Dialog activity. Let's enter Hello World and click OK. It types the string into Notepad. And now we've reached the final breakpoint. When we click Continue again, it stops the execution. This is how we can use the Create Test Bench action. As mentioned earlier, if we close the tab without saving, we'll lose our input dialog workflow. So let's save it. And go back to the project panel, and here it is. With this, we conclude our demo. As a quick recap, To test individual activities or containers in a workflow, we can use the Test Activity action from the context menu of the activity in the Designer panel. On the other hand, to test workflow ideas, we can access the Create Test Bench action from the Activities panel. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy automation!